I'm Mark.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Patrick.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about the ACT Expo. And if you don't know what that is, we'll explain to you after we roll the title.
ACT? The mouthwash?
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, Casey, did you say mouthwash? Is that what you said?
ACT mouthwash.
No. ACT is not a mouthwash in this particular context. But if you want to use mouthwash, go right ahead. The virtual thing we got going doesn't matter to me, though. So, okay.
So it was supposed to be funny because I don't even know if there's still a brand, but when I was a kid, that was one of the mouthwash brands.
Okay. A blast from the past there. Here we go.
That's an out of scope comment.
It is.
Scope.
More mouthwash jokes. Yes. In this case, the ACT Expo is a transportation show that's going on currently in Las Vegas. And why we wanted to talk a little bit about that particular expo this week is that the TeslaSemi has shown up at this show in not only a static display inside the exhibition hall, but also they brought another roadworthy unit that they have put in a parking lot driving course outside and allow people not to drive it themselves, but to go along on a ride in the truck on a bit of a course. You know, they got some cones out and they've got some sweeping turns and such, and nothing insane on 0 to 60 times, but at least give you the feel of the truck and how it operates on road. This was pulled, of course, from Kyle Connor out of Spec, who was able to attend this particular expo in Las Vegas and was able to visit the semi in the expo center.
Uh-oh, we lost Mark.
Come back.
I'm back. Yeah, so this was actually something that allowed Kyle to see the vehicle on the show floor and actually ask some questions of the Tesla personnel that were manning the booth because they're looking apparently to sell the vehicle to others or explain how the vehicle works and what its operation value is as something that people could compare to other vehicles. Because at the show, at the ACT Expo, ACT Expo, they have other electric trucks that are there from other manufacturers as well. So it's not just Tesla, but they're bringing their wares to show the industry what they've got and start to expand some of the information that we've been hearing from PepsiCo and now others as they start to put these vehicles through their paces. And what was kind of cool is there was some photos, video that we were able to grab some screenshots from that Kyle's group was able to share with the people watching, which gave us some insight into some new pieces, not necessarily new, but I guess it would be something that would allow us to see some insight as to how the truck operates or what some of the hidden panels are in the vehicle. So let's just share a few photos here now. Here we go.
While you're pulling those up, I looked it up, and ACT stands for Advanced Clean Transportation.
There we go.
Something we all want.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So there's the truck on the coned road course that they had set up at the convention center. And there is a detailed shot of the front of the truck. I believe they indicated that there is a bit of a storage compartment here, which looks like a radiator, actually, at the base.
Is there normally a liner and they just took it out so you could see, or is this
Maybe.
what it always looks like?
On the prototype, but then they removed that on this pilot construction model.
Okay.
So there was no storage like we'd find on a typical Tesla. Very much like the original Roadster.
So I believe this is the cab HVAC unit, or possibly maybe some of the filtering system for air filtering, possibly. Not sure if it's going to have the same as like a Model Y or something along that line. And they didn't answer this, but this reservoir for liquid, I don't think that's windshield washer fluid being orange like that.
It looks like just a lot more of the regular Tesla coolant for the super bottle and octovalve.
It is quite a large reservoir
Mhm.
that's out facing, and of course, with a truck that has what is it, 3 Model 3 motors in it?
Yes.
I thought it was more than that.
Is there 3 or 4?
There's
I
3
will-
plow motors in it.
Oh, okay.
Because
I thought there was
they
more.
they have on both
Only 3.
axles on the back. I believe the very back axle is a dual motor, and then the middle axle is a single motor, I believe.
I think that's that one. Yeah.
And they're
one is
they're
geared
able,
for acceleration, and the others are geared for cruising.
yeah, so they can shut down to be more efficient once they're up to speed. But that would require obviously more fluid to cool the motors and to and of course the battery pack would be much larger in this vehicle as well.
Yep, you are correct. There are 3.
Yeah.
Next, Casey's charging port, which Casey comments upon all the time. And they did make some reference to this in the video about how they believe that the charging port is in flux. They're starting with something because, of course, there was no standard when they started, and they basically provided what they felt would be best. And then, of course, I think Kyle had indicated that there could be standards coming, or they could move to the 2nd generation of this unit as well.
Yeah, so this is, if it's not the MCS2 connector, it's a variant of it. And then the MCS3 connector is the triangular one that looks like CCS, but has much bigger lugs. There's also a slimmer chance that they could go NACS with it, because NACS can do megawatt. But since the folks told Kyle and Co. that they would be going megawatt, then they probably would go with the megawatt charger, since they started to do that here. And isn't that just the Tesla story? Like, hey, we have a vehicle that's ready to go. Where's our plug? Oh, you don't have it ready yet? Do something.
Right.
They did it with the Roadster. They did it with the Model S.
Mm-hmm. You don't slow down and wait for a committee. You find a better way and you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you could delay many things. So it's probably best to make something work that will work for you exactly, and then worry about standards later on.
I mean, yeah, it's not like the standards were like in the final phase and they were just waiting for sign off from everybody. There's speculation. Some folks said that when it came to the what is now NACS, that they tried to hold off until Tesla would go out of business before they finalized it, but that didn't work. And that's just speculation. That doesn't mean it's not true. It doesn't mean it is true. But then we saw what happened with that is all of their connectors that they made up after the fact, because J1772-2009 came out after the Roadster was on the market, and then whatever the industry names for CCS1 and CCS2 are came out after the Model S had hit the road. And in fact, I think they even came out just weeks before the supercharger, first supercharger unveiling. So they had to, if they had waited to get CCS1 on the road, they would have gone out of business waiting on that before you could get a car you could travel with. Yeah.
And then a shot from inside with the screen on the right-hand side of the vehicle. And of course, there are screens that flank both the steering wheels on the left and the right. And of course, the configuration of the screen and what appears on the screen has been in flux and changing over time based on Tesla's interaction with other carriers, figuring out what's important, what needs to be displayed in certain areas, what they may have forgotten or can enhance based on the driver or the fleet's needs for their operation.
Even stuff from their own drivers, because they're running a fleet at least as large as Pepsi's.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and this is, again, this is something that we've been talking about the iteration of software in the vehicle, and of course, that certainly is connected to these screens and what they display. Kyle had indicated that some of the screens were locked out. They didn't want them to be able to look at specifics in certain areas, but they did have a demonstration screen in place that you could click around and look at some of the options within the screen while still not showing sensitive information that Tesla was not willing to share with the public at this time. So, not a surprise there that they would have certain things locked out and not available to the general public to see. So not surprised at all. But
they did give enough information that Kyle was able to get a pretty good guess at the battery size, and it was very similar to the number that Patrick came up with using math. So I was still surprised to see how good that was. Even was this now 2 years after the fact that you did this? 3 years?
Yeah. It's been a while. I can pull up the exact date, but yeah, we were. That was the reveal. So they didn't give us a whole lot of information, but we did some speculating and we did some math.
Yep, and it was right there in line with what is actually out there. And of course, at this expo, they're showing this to prospective new people that would have interest in the vehicle, and will of course be comparing the numbers that Tesla comes back with, how much energy the vehicle burns per mile or whatever matrix they're going to use to show its efficiency. And they're comparing that to Freightliner and to Mack and Peterbilt and others that are now all have some sort of an electric competitor out there. So it's now more and more are realizing that there is a race, and that of course with the subsidies that are in place in California and other places, this is something that that many companies are anxious to get involved with, to not only advertise that look how green we are, but actually get some of these great rebates that are available, and start to move some of their transportation that's local to a cleaner, greener way of moving around a city, and reduce those emissions. And it's something that many companies now are looking at moving into.
Yeah, we also learned that this is really not even Gen 1. There's going to be another one that comes out later. And the typical Tesla way is just, it probably look exactly the same, but under the hood, the software, the hardware are going to be different. And also the typical Tesla way, the battery is very likely going to be smaller on the wide release than it is on this one. But we're still going to see the same range, and we'll probably see way better fuel consumption, because if you make the battery smaller and then don't address the fuel consumption, then you'll have a shorter range. So that's the only way that will work. And we'll also start to see the final version of the Megacharger, because the version that they're using right now is behind the fence, which means that Pepsi, Tesla, that group that we talked about with the restaurants that only has
the McDonald's supplier, yeah,
they have 2 trucks but no chargers.
Yeah,
you've got Costco and Walmart. They probably have their own facilities to be able to put in a Megacharger, but it'll be interesting to see the finalized version, and I suspect they'll do a charge port retrofit to whatever the final version is for these older trucks, because unless they're going to swap the trucks out, here, give us the old one, we'll give you a new one. It's not really the Tesla way, but there's a few enough of them that they could do it that way. I would suspect that it would make more sense to keep these vehicles on the road and then just update their software, just like we saw with the legacy cars
Yep.
and new cars. So you'll have some legacy semis before anybody even gets their first one.
Yeah, yeah. Although I think the early legacy guys like PepsiCo and others that have been announced that they're getting vehicles, they might get a few upgrades along the way, to show some appreciation for what they brought to the table for Tesla to learn this stuff on the fly. But
this selling to a large fleet customer like that's very different than selling to retail individuals.
Exactly. And there's what's the great news here is now that they're starting to show this to the general transportation public. This is not Joe Q public. This is somebody that's involved with fleets. This is someone that's involved in green transportation that they're moving their company towards. But at least it is showing, again, more progress. That Tesla is further down the road. That, yes, there's still iterations happening. They're still making modifications to the software, to the hardware, the trucks themselves. But they're now starting to show it to others and say, get ready because this is going to be available. We start pushing out of a mega factory, 50,000 units a year, then guess what? You've got a lot of potential customers that can start buying the vehicle. And it looks like they're starting to spread the word early.
Speaking of volume, Pepsi has ordered more of these Mark 1 or whatever Tesla's going to call them semis. And they mentioned that at Giga Nevada, where the semi factory is going to be, although apparently in a separate building, not in the same monolith like they showed us initially.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, same property, but a different building. Was it 50,000 semis a year they committed to?
Yep.
So that's significant when you look at what the other manufacturers make in a year. And we could see this turn faster than anyone had anticipated, especially somebody like Bill Gates, who thought it was impossible to make the first one.
Yeah. And when these have the batteries of 10 cars and they're making 50,000 of them, that's a lot of cells.
Tesla quoted it at 3 Model Ys.
Okay.
I think it's more than that, though.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see that as they start to push them out into the public as to what fleet operators pick on it first. Like, is it the local delivery guys? Is it the regional hub to hub guys? It won't be the long haul truckers. That's going to be the last thing to be filled because, of course, you need that charging network that we were talking about in order to string cities together.
Yeah, the only way that one happens is if we find out there have been mega chargers sitting in all these cities across the nation on major highway routes, just waiting on the cable to be finished.
Yeah,
plug in the cable and you're good to go.
I have heard through other media sources that some of the others, like Peterbilt and the other Freightliner and such, they're working on deals for chargers with places like Pilot and Love's truck stops. So that type of conversation has already happened. I think Tesla is certainly above and beyond that with their experience with the supercharger network already and their connection with a number of landowners and the ability to be very close to on and off freeway ramps. I think it's going to be a lot easier for them to maybe incorporate 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 mega chargers at an existing supercharger site, as long as it's got room for the tractor trailer to drive in and pull up effectively to charge that vehicle. But again, Tesla submitted something to the Biden administration about building this. They were refused, but we haven't heard anything more besides that Tesla might decide to do this themselves. And I am really interested to see if we start to see one of the current superchargers maybe start to get a modification in place that could be a mega charger. But we will have to wait and see.
There was one other thing that was there that was drew an interesting comment. Our Angular Wonder made of stainless steel. Kyle and Co. thought that nobody would really be interested in that there, and even though it was drawing a crowd, he didn't mean that people wouldn't want to look at it, but he didn't feel that it would be a good fit for that audience. Financial bean counter types. I think that actually it is a good place to put it there. Obviously not for the Foundation series, because that would be hard to justify. But the rear-wheel drive starter model and the dual motor at the regular price, they're right in line with the competition right now. And if you already know your routes and your costs and everything, that it is already going to be cheaper to operate than a fossil, and it already costs the same or less than a fossil at the non-Foundation prices. Even at the Foundation prices, if you have some of the flashier trucks like the Raptors and the stuff, because when you look at the payload, it's actually got like a 2,500 payload, and pretty much right in line with the 1,500 on the towing. Although you got to want that range extender if you're going to be towing in between cities, intercities. But I think that was not a bad idea to bring one of them there, and they probably get a couple sales off of that as well.
Well, with that, I think we'll wrap this episode up, because we're looking forward to the future to see some of these pieces start to fall in place. But Casey, any shout-outs for us today?
Yeah, so it's Friday, and we will see you on Sunday, hopefully, over at the my show, the Let's Chat with Casey and Friends, over at youtube.com/Casey Green. And I might have some information to share with you on the HV Nomads vehicle. I gotta look at some more stuff, and then I'll be able to tell you for sure. But we did get the 3D model of the interior completed, and we looked at that little spin through of it last week, and I need to go ahead and get it into just a regular old video rather than just a live stream for you guys, and get started with putting out those videos on demand for you. But we'll see. Awesome. And then on Monday, come back here and catch the Tesla Life Express.
Very good. Patrick, any quick shout-outs for us?
Here's all my socials. You can find me at one or more of these. Check them out. And have a nice weekend. Live regeneratively.
There's a new line. Just came out of nowhere. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll catch you next time.
That actually worked with the German recuperation.